So welcome back then as you join us for the conclusion of our time qualifying before Superpole here at round 2 of the Trips.UK British Supermoto Championship here at Teesside Autodrome. I'm Phil G, alongside me Danielle Koenig, to bring you all the action from day 2 here at Teesside. We had a day racing yesterday. This is the full British Championship underway today here in under cloudy but clear skies.
Make sure that you're following British Supermoto on Instagram and Facebook to keep up to date with all of today's action as well as previous action from round 1. You can also watch live and on demand at TNL Sports on YouTube and keep up to date with everything for riders and fans at the BritishSupermotoChampionship.com.
As we can see, quite a lot of speedy dry down on the outside of the corners there. We had a bit of an oil spill earlier on, but here's our Academy Championship then. Archie Ormrod leading with 50 points from the number 48 of Jackson Bennett. Then it's Archie Reynolds, Lily Rhodes, Liam Pearson, Bell Wingate, Leon Tall, Ruby Booth, Cole Reynolds and Harris Tall rounding out your top 10, and they will be on track for their second round shortly.
Novice currently led by the 24 of Paul Baxter, followed by Jake Sayer, Neil Mellon, Simon Burgess, Luke Armitage, Scotsman of Duncan Wright, Luke Hutchison, Simon Wadsworth, May Chalice and Jason Slater.
Our Clubman Championship currently a lockout at the front of the grid for the Trips.UK KTM team with Paul Groom from Team Boss Chris Walker and Harley Sharp in third. Then it's Seth Gibson, Darryl Pennington, Automotive Solutions Paul Reynolds in 6th, Darren Lee 7th, Chris Lambourne in 8th, Craig Forshaw 9th and Luca Jennings in 10th.
But our overall British Supermoto Championship is currently led by the man from the Isle of Man, David Pearce, followed by Jay Smith, Jamie Duncan, Richard Sharp and Richard Blakeman. Then we've got the youngster of Alex Mullaney and Jack Nation, Peter Bennett, Dean Hillier and Lee Williams rounding out our top 10.
So qualification then out on track at the moment, and live timing currently showing that it is the number 7 of Jamie Duncan that is topping the timesheets at the moment. And as soon as we get a wrap up on this time qualifying session, the top 5 riders will go for a single Superpole lap around this very challenging Teesside circuit. Our timetable for today then, A group main race number 1 will be around hopefully around 1 o'clock. Race 2 will be at 15:20 and our race 3 at 5 o'clock, and obviously all of the support groups will be preceding that. So as soon as we are done with Superpole, we will be on with Academy Race 1. And like I say, the day will be over before we have a chance to blink an eye, but obviously keep an eye on those timetables. We'll take a couple of breaks during proceedings as we start looking at the Fat and Fast KTM. That looks like that is Jamie Duncan.
Yep, so it looks like we've got Jamie Duncan currently in the pits. Looks like he's probably getting them tyre warmers on, ready for his Superpole lap. So one of the amendments for this season was that these riders are now allowed pit warmers, tyre warmers in the holding area to try and give them the best possible chance to put in a fast lap for that one lap shootout to determine the front row of our grid for race 1.
So the Fat and Fast Trevor Pope Motorcycles KTM there, the pinned logo on the swing arm then. That's Jamie Duncan's company that produces mountain bike parts, cranks and pedals and all sorts of stuff. So if you're into your mountain biking and downhill stuff especially, Jamie Duncan does a really good line of top quality gear. There's Dad Rab there on the left hand side, and they've finally got that bike dialed in after chasing handling issues through the beginning of the year. Jamie here with his newborn as well this weekend for the first time.
Yeah.
So new dad Jamie is obviously loving his racing.
Yeah, their engineering company Contract Solutions also sponsor our C group, so that's absolutely great that they're trying to support our up and coming riders. So we'll see them a little bit later on.
GoPro mounted on the front of that number 7.
Looks like we've got the checkered flag out now for our qualifying session, so we'll just keep an eye out to see which riders will be in our Superpole. But it's looking like Jamie is currently still holding first position.
129.8 according to our live timing. If you want to follow the live timing, which drives all of our live timing on screen for all of our races, then if you go to speedhive.mylaps.com, there should be a link there for you to follow. And also there is an app for your mobile device, and that is what drives all of our live timing and scoring this weekend. That looks like that's the 110 of Chris Eastwood. He's out there on a fresh to him Honda, which he picked up yesterday. So he's riding. I see the sole tyre there on the arms of those leathers, by the looks of it. But it's Eastwood then riding out of that racing and cruising awning, which is obviously set up in the back of our holding area there as our tyre supplier for this championship. So that will be the first time for him out on that bike today in Bremner 34, his bike there in the background.
So looking at our live timing, it looks like we do have our top 5 locked in. We've got the number 7 of Jamie Duncan, who's currently got a fastest lap of a 129.928, followed by our previous championship winner, number 1 of Chris Hodson, back from injury, with a 130.6. Then it's the number 4 of David Pearce, doing a 130.9. In fourth, we have the 33 of Jay Smith, doing a 131.0. And rounding out our Superpole is the 217 of Richard Sharp.
The man on screen at the moment, then he took a race victory at the in the last race yesterday, at the first round at Three Sisters, and also backed it up with a win yesterday in what has been a very, very competitive field at the front end of this Trips.UK Championship. There's his teammate Jay Smith. He's also made Superpole, so it will be reverse order to go. So it will be Sharp, Smith, Pearce, Hodgson, and finally Jamie Duncan. There's the rider in the black there with his short hair. That's David Pearce, the man from the Isle of Man. The baby-faced assassin, I think I'm going to start calling him, because he was absolutely on fire at the first round at Three Sisters. There's the Londoner Jay Smith, just getting himself... I think he's taking his helmet off or putting it on, and we'll be a few minutes while we get ready. And behind him, obviously, Chris Hodgson, just getting a debrief then from our race director there in the blue hat, Mr. David Dearden, the man who keeps this championship on track. Chris Hodgson then the 18-time champion on the TM Leeds Team UK 450 TM. He had a mixed bag yesterday, but coming back after a big practice crash at Three Sisters, and took no part in that race there. But he was right back at the sharp end yesterday, Danielle. So we're expecting to see him back where he belongs, even though he's recovering from injury. Yeah,
he was battling at the front all day yesterday, but I feel like a few mistakes and a few little offs here and there really sort of hampered his overall result. But both him and the number 100 of Alex Mullaney looking really, really fast on those TM Leeds Team UK TMs yesterday.
They were indeed. And the number 4, David Pearce, he's carrying injuries sustained in a crash yesterday, where he went down at the end of the back straight, and just a little bit of 2 or 3 people arguing over the same piece of track, and the man from the Isle of Man there came off second best to Chris Hodgson and ended up just going down, and then had a little bit of a bike problem which put him on the ground quite hard, and he's got carrying injuries to his hands, and he's very, very stiff this morning. So it will be a slightly detuned David Pearce there on the number 4 DC Arc KTM, which is that is his spare bike. The other one has been quite extensively damaged in that crash, which is unusual for supermoto bikes, because they do tend to crash quite well, metaphorically speaking. Sounds a bit of it, but you can throw them down the track, and 9 times out of 10 you've got to kick the bar straight and away you go. But it's I think it cartwheeled into the dirt a little bit and bent the bars and all sorts of other peripheral damage. But he's got another bike there ready to go, so they'll be running that today, and I believe that was the bike that he did ride at Three Sisters anyway, so he's no stranger to that one. This is our high camera position then overlooking the circuit as we see the Trips.UK Husqvarna of Richard Sharp then, and he was really, really good value for money yesterday, and as I said, managed to nail a race win, which he very much deserved. And
so they're getting about half of the track layout as their warm-up lap before they head into their fast lap for Superpole. So we'll be heading round now through this infield section, and our timing line cuts across right about here.
And then through this chicane, and then it's going to be left, and then a tight right into the off-road section. Am I mistaken? He's out there on the number 817, so that is his son Harley's bike for whatever reason. They drove down this lovely off-road section, that nice inside line. You can really get some drive up there. Helps you get over the top of this tabletop. It's quite loose there. You'll power round this berm then, and then there's a nice downhill step down here. It's a lot further than it looks. And they'll come back onto the tarmac, shifting through the gears. It's really, really slick, and you can just see he had a little bit of a tuck at the front there. You raced on this track yesterday, Danielle, going in the opposite direction. What's the grip like around that neck of the woods?
It's super, super slippy around there, and especially if they're coming off this way, they've still all got all that dirt on the tyres. Another thing to point out is as you're trying to get on the power down that back straight, quite a lot of potholes that have been filled, very bumpy as well.
So this area of the track also very, very slick in places. It's sharp then on the gas, coming back down to the final turn around the south bend. Drifts it in there, trying to stay inside the line of that speedy dry, staying off the slick part of the track. He's a very sideways styled rider. Is Richard Sharp on the Trips.uk Husky. On the gas. I'll try and get the lowdown on what was wrong with his number one bike, but he gets the checkered flag then from our starter Kirk, and he is the first rider across the line, and his time is a 120 122
nope.
132.27. So
I don't think he's improved on his qualifying time, so I'll just double check, but it looks like he may have had issues with his own bike potentially there.
So yeah, fair to say that that is not the bike that he raced yesterday, and he seems to say, well, it's all right. His bikes are, although they're very well prepared, they're not that special in comparison to this man, number 33 of Jay Smith on the ex-Lucas Holbacher MTR KTM. Again, riding for Trips, but under the KTM colours rather than the Husqvarna of the 217 of Richard Sharp. And the man from London was on good form yesterday. Him and Chris Walker, his team boss, have one of these MTR bikes, and they are an absolute work of art.
So Richard Sharp didn't manage to improve on his qualifying time. He did a 131.8 in qualifying, but a 132.2 on his Superpole lap.
So Smith then through turn one, then into this tight right-hander, into the off-road. Spins the rear up the top here. Easy to over-jump this and run wide, but he makes a nice fist of it over there. A little bit of camera break up there. I always look at that and think, I wonder if you could double down the hill, but it's absolutely miles. He also favours the inside line, which sets you up nicely. Gets back on the gas, straight down the drop off onto that tabletop to give him maximum drive. And then this transition through here where the dirt drags on, this is where it's easy to go down, and you can see he is really, really careful here. And again, the back end just sliding away with the dirt on the tyres. Onto the back straight then. This is so fast down here. It's toward the camera, flat out on the 450. Just hitting the rev limiter, so gearing absolutely perfect. As he comes through into the infield section. This looks like a good lap from Jay then, Danielle. He was good yesterday, and he's got a little bit of a different approach this year. I think he's going to take what the day gives him. He always used to be a pusher and went for the win every time out. But he just seems to be a little bit more settled.
Yep, he was one of the riders that we didn't see much drama from yesterday. He was consistently at the front, there or thereabouts. A little bit of bad luck, I think, but again, a great consistent day for him yesterday, so we'll be looking to build on that today.
So Jay Smith comes across the line, and he goes, a good bit faster, almost 1.8 seconds, so a 130.44 for the number 33 Londoner of Jay Smith. So he is currently our top qualifier.
So that was an improvement from his qualifying lap. His best lap in qualifying was a 131.0, so he's taken about 0.6 of a second off there on Superpole. We
wait then for our next rider, which should be the number 4 of David Pearce. He gets the Hurry up there, Dad, in the background, and of course Dave Clark there in the black, the boss of DCR. So I'd got David Pearce down as quite a young lad, but talking to him in the pits last night and this morning, he actually rode Supersport 600 in BSB. I think he said 2011. So I think you worked out that he was, what we said was 31 or 32 years old.
Yeah, 31, 32. We're thinking.
Yep. So not the youngster that I thought he was, and he's certainly got a good pedigree. Races over there at Derby in the Isle of Man, and this is his return to racing. They took a lot of time off after spending a lot of time and money on road racing. Big wheelie as they come as a big dip there on the brakes. Easy to go down here on the stones that get kicked back onto the tarmac. Our track crew will be brushing those between races. Oh, big leap down there. Does he go for the inside? He does. So it doesn't look like many of our front runners are favouring this outside. That's a nice leap, but he just tapped the top of that with the back wheel, so that wasn't as nice as Smith. Really,
this section here, as you head uphill, it's super slippery, so you'll see...
He's a little bit wide there, so he cut tight to try and get on the grip on the inside of the circuit, so that may have cost him a little bit of time to get on that, Danielle, but that's where the grip is round there. Fast through here. There's very little runoff as well. Probably the one of the scariest parts of the circuit between this one and the back straight at Rowra. They're both kind of, it's going great until it's not moments. But Pearce then into the south bend.
Feel like he'll be fast round this long right-hander with that knee down style.
Yeah, he did struggle to get through the slower riders. Relative to him, obviously all of our A group very quick, but he did struggle to get through the traffic in the race where he had to start from the back of the grid yesterday, but he didn't make good time, so he'll be come through and see if he goes better.
So he hasn't managed to beat the southerner of Jay Smith, so David Pearce is currently sitting in second with a 1:30.921.
So Pearce takes second, then just half a second adrift. So here is the enigma that is Chris Hodson, 18 times champion. And on that TM Moto, TM Leeds UK TM. And as I said, he took a massive digger at Three Sisters in free practice, I believe, on the Saturday, and took no part in the event at all. Got away and got the collarbone plated earlier the following week, and was back here testing on Friday. So the TM Leeds TM UK 450. Teammate Mulaney did not make the cut for Superpole, but he was a threat yesterday and will be a threat again today. And again, another one favouring the inside. So this is the time when, as a racer, you're looking at this and thinking, well, if everybody's going to the inside on lap one, the outside has got to be a good option to rail around the outside if there's any problems. But inch perfect over that, inch perfect on that drop. Really easy just to clip that on the way down and launch yourself. Hodgson runs a little, look at him getting tight out of here, look. So he's right over on that side of the track going up the hill. Again, crossing over the slippy bit. Now, these TMs are incredibly fast down the back straight. These are out-of-the-box bikes. They're not anything special with regards to what you would buy if you bought a normal TM from TM Leeds UK. There's a lot of extra parts on there that they have supplied, but unlike the bikes of Smith and Chris Walker that are straight out of the MTR World Championship stable, these are over-the-counter bikes, as it were. A little bit of front-end patter there on the way in, maybe.
Yeah, Chris favouring that feet on the peg style as he heads round South Bank. Just using a foot there as more of a feeler, I'd say, as they head around that previous oil spill from our Superlights. But Chris looking really clean, so we'll see what
he never looks fast as Chris, does he? See what he's going to done.
He's in second, so he's currently done a 1:30.501, which places him again behind Jay Smith.
So second place then for the man from up there in the northeast in Maryport. Sorry, the northwest. East and west mixed up, really. East now, he lives on the west, that's it. So here we are then, Jamie Duncan. As I said, this bike has been a bit of a struggle for them. assuming that it is the new bike that he's out on, but I know that they got it pretty much dialed on Friday after having issues with it, with the front end feel, and that was traced to an issue with the front wheel.
So Jamie, our only rider in the A's that managed to get a sub 130 in qualifying, so he's our last rider for Superpole, but he'll be looking to try and best that.
Hard on the brakes here, and again, just got to get, this is always a difficult thing, you always feel like you've got to get on the power a lot earlier. Oh, that's a big mistake there at the top, he's run a little bit wide there. Big jump down the hill, but again, another rider going to the inside. There's a lot of grip in there, he just catches a little bit of a crab. Flat lands over the tabletop. And not quite as tidy, so he looks like he's trying, and to be fair to Jamie, he always does look like he's trying. He's not the smooth rider. Again, another one cutting it really tight to find the grip. This track is used for karting, and it gets polished really, really badly in these turns. Down behind the bars. Around that left-hander, and again, this is one of them corners that as long as you don't fall off on the way in, you're pretty much good to go. And then come down into South Bank turn. Again, he drifts outside, so we saw Richard Sharp hugging the curb to get inside of that, but he doesn't seem to be giving anybody any problems. The track crew here at Teesside Autodrome put down a ton of speedy dry and to get the track ready for racing.
So we can see Jamie wrestle that Trevor Pope KTM across the line, but he didn't manage to improve on his time. He's currently sat in third with a 1 minute 30.501, so the exact same time as the number one of Chris Hodson.
So Jay Smith then will sit on pole position for race one today, which should go off the line just after 5 minutes past 1 today. We've got our academy race coming up next, and I would say the weather looking out of the window looks like we're going to be set fairly dry for the rest of the day. But there is our Superpole powered by Race IQ. That's the new race timing system that's available for download. So it's Jay Smith from Chris Hodgson, Jamie Duncan in third, David Pearce fourth, and rounding out our Superpole then, Richard Sharp will start on the front of row 2 for the racing later on today. Next action on track then will be our academy group, and we'll wait for them to come to the line. So it will be Academy C, B, A. We will have a short break, and then we will resume with the second group of racing around 2:30, and the rest of the afternoon. As I said, this is a live broadcast, so obviously the timetable is down to what is happening on track. And we will now get ready for Academy Race 1.